Hi, welcome to the Urban Outdoors in SoCal video. My name is Danny Milton, and today's video we're going to be getting ready for the upcoming 2023 TAC season. If you don't know what TAC is, it stands for Total Archery Challenge. Total Archery Challenge is a company that goes across America. They go to a bunch of different venues, Texas, Montana, Michigan, all kinds of different places, and they set up 3D archery target courses. I am going to be shooting 3 events this year. I'm doing the Tennessee event, the Big Sky event, and also in Utah. The Tennessee event and the Utah event, I'm gonna be out there by myself. My wife is gonna be with me. She'll be, my cameraman, but I'm gonna be shooting those events pretty much by myself. Big Sky, I'm gonna be with my buddy Jimmy and his family. So if you guys see me at the Tennessee or the Utah event and you wanna shoot together, you want me to join your group, come on up and ask. I know sometimes I have that RDF, that kind of very serious, angry looking face. It's not me at all. You come up and ask a question. I love talking to you guys. I love, sharing what little knowledge I have with you guys. So don't be afraid. Come on up, ask, if you want to shoot, awesome, or you just want to go to the range and shoot a couple arrows. If you guys are having any problems with your equipment, I can try to help you as best I can. So I want to go over everything that I do to get ready for the upcoming TAC season. So I'm going to go over my gear, what my bow setup is, what type of equipment that I like to use. I'm also going to give you guys some tips and advice for actually going out and shooting at these events. I'm also going to go over the type of gear that I take out with me as far as food and drinks and snacks, stuff like that. Also the way I have all my gear set up, vinyl harness and hip quiver or backpack, all that kind of stuff as well. So the most important thing is to make sure that your bow is completely ready to go out and shoot. You definitely want to make sure that your sight tapes are all dialed in. You also want to make sure that your bowstring is in good working order. All of your screws and all that kind of stuff is nice and tight. You also want to make sure that your scope is balanced on all 3 axes. So having your scope balanced with all 3 axes is going to make a huge difference on how well you're going to be shooting at these TAC events. You're going to have a lot of uphill and downhill shots, and if you don't have that 3rd axis really dialed in, you could be dead on as far as your distance goes, but if your 3rd axis is off, you could be shooting left or right, anywhere from 1 to a foot or 2, and that's really going to make a difference on how well you're going to shoot this course. The next thing you want to do is make sure that you have plenty of arrows, because there are a lot of very difficult, very wind condition, rock condition, trees in the way, all that kind of stuff that are going to be trying to pretty much eat up all your arrows. So next I'm going to show you guys all of the gear that I take out with me on the course, starting with my bow. My bow is a PSC NXT Drive. It's the extra large version. It's in that Kuyu Verde color. Some of the components I have on my bow is I have the Axle landslide sight. I also have the UltraView UV3 XL scope housing on there. Some of the stabilizers I have are the knock-on stabilizers, the Riddance. I believe it's a 12-inch stabilizer in the front and a 10-inch in the rear. What else? Also have the knock-on arrow rest. I'll show you guys that as well. I love that arrow rest. That little green tab flips up and it holds your arrow in place, while you're setting up your shot and drawing back. Works really well for me. Some of the stuff I have on my chest here, obviously got my binoculars. These are the Diamondback HDs. These are 12 by 50s. I like these a little bit better. There's a little bit more magnification compared to a 10 by 50. Obviously I have these in the Sitka chest harness. I love this harness. It's really comfortable. It fits these binoculars really well as far as, size-wise. They're not moving around a lot. I got the 2 side pouches here. In this side pouch, I have my rangefinder. This is the Leupold RX Full Draw 4. Love this rangefinder, super fast. As soon as you put this on target, it's, you push that button, it's gonna give you that range really quickly. That's really important, especially when you're at a TAC event. Sometimes those 3D targets are sitting behind rocks, sometimes they're sitting behind trees, and you have a very small target to aim at to try to get the exact yardage. Having the Leupold get that yardage very quickly, because your hand is shaking, you might be looking uphill 100 yards, downhill 80 yards or whatever. The Leupold gives me a very quick, very accurate range. I would definitely recommend, anytime you go out on one of these courses, I would definitely recommend wearing pants. You're gonna be walking through a lot of tree sections, a lot of brush, there's rocks, anything like that. If you slip, your legs are gonna be kind of covered. I would also recommend wearing boots, any type of hiking boot. You're gonna be going up and down some really steep mountains, going over rocks, climbing over, fallen trees, going around brush, anything like that. having that little extra bit of ankle protection is going to keep you safe out there. I would definitely recommend taking 2 releases with you, just in case one breaks or you put one down somewhere and you forget to grab it. You're going to have a second release with you. The release that I use, this is the Carter Wise Choice. This is very similar to the knock-on version, but the knock-on version is a 2-finger like this. I like actually having the 3-finger here. It's just a little bit more comfortable for me, a little bit more consistent. You know, the 2-finger, it kind of rocks around a little bit in your hand. Having the 3-finger makes it a lot more stable for me and just like the overall feel of it. Some of the stuff I keep in this pouch, you know, you can see I got a little bit of wind detector here. I also have some extra tools in there. That's where I'm going to keep my extra release. You also want to have some Allen wrenches in case something comes loose or something breaks on your bow. You've got some Allen wrenches to kind of work on that. Something else I'll also keep too is some extra nocks and definitely some extra points. You got a lot of people shooting at the same target. Someone might shoot out one of your nocks. You might hit another arrow and mess up one of your points. So carrying some extra stuff like that is also pretty good. I don't like using a bow quiver on my bow. I want to keep my bow pretty much as light as possible. You're going to be out there shooting at a lot of targets, and just having that extra weight on the bow I don't like. Some of the other gear I've got on right now, this is my hip quiver. This is the way I ran it last year. I know a lot of people will carry extra arrows in their backpack. I don't like doing that because the arrows stick out so much higher, and then you're going through some brush or there's a low branch, so you're going to get stuck on there. I like using the hip quiver. I usually take, you know, about 10 to 12 arrows with me. What I'll do is I'll have most of those kind of hairband and sticking in the back so they're not banging around making too much noise. And then I'll just have like 1 or 2 loose in the front. Those are going to be the arrows that I'm going to be shooting during the event. So as far as carrying all the other gear that we're going to be talking about in just a minute, you know, water, food, extra equipment, you know, maybe a jacket that you're going to be needing. Sometimes, you know, the temperatures can vary quite a bit throughout the day. If you want to take a jacket with you and then the sun comes out, you're gonna have to put that jacket somewhere. You don't want it hanging off your waist or anything like that. So this is basically the way I ran my setup last year. I had my binaural harness, had my hip quiver, and I was wearing the fanny pack or the hip pack. Basically, you know, you got your water tube right here. I had water in there. I had snacks, some other stuff as well like that. Not gonna be able to carry a lot of stuff inside there, you know, if you have like a jacket that you want to take on or take off. I do like this setup with the hip pack, carrying all my food and water. It's very light. There's nothing on my back other than, you know, the straps from the binaural harness. I don't have to worry about any straps or anything like that interfering with my draw or just, you know, making my shoulders tired. You're gonna be out there for a long time hiking around, shooting your bow, and if you've got straps on or a really heavy backpack, that's going to affect, you know, the strength of your shoulders. It's going to make you more tired, and then you're going to be making worse shots. All right, this pack I have on here is a pack that I use for a lot of my mountain biking rides. It's called a USWE. It's USWE. It's very light. The shoulder straps are very flexible. It's made for bouncing around like on a motorcycle or a mountain bike. You can see here, it's going to carry your water, and it's going to carry a lot more gear as well if you need to put like your jacket in there, anything like that. I'll show you guys some close-up footage of it. This pack is, I believe, 10 or 11 liters as far as size-wise goes, so it's going to carry plenty of water, all your food and snack in there. This is going to have plenty of room for that. You could also put some arrows, you know, hanging out the top of it if you wanted to, but, you know, I got the hip quiver, so that's what I'm going to be using for that. The other thing, too, because the shoulder straps of this backpack flex so much, it's not going to interfere at all with your drawback or anything like that. It's very light and it's a great backpack. The last pack I'm going to show you, this is my Sitka backpack. This is the one I actually take out with me hunting. Obviously it's going to have plenty of space for all of your gear in there. Got my bugle tube in there as well. Very comfortable. I love this backpack. It's really nice. It's just way too big for me to take it out on the Total Archery Challenge events. I don't need to carry this much stuff with me. You know, it carries, I mean, it's a huge backpack, but it's really nice. It's very comfortable. One thing I will tell you is if you're wearing a backpack like this, definitely use it at the range before you get to the archery event. That way you're used to shooting it, you know, and you draw back. These shoulder straps are gonna move a little bit. They might get in the way of your hand, and, you know, your release, anything like that. So definitely practice with whatever gear you're gonna be wearing at the event before you get there. Now, as far as some of the stuff that you're gonna be putting in that hip pack or backpack, anything like that, I would definitely recommend taking water with you. You know, you're gonna be out on this course from anywhere from 2 to about 4, maybe even 5 hours. You're gonna be hiking up a lot of elevation or going down a lot of elevation. It could be really hot. You know, when I was at Big Sky a couple of years ago, it got up to like 75, 80 degrees. And when you're at elevation, it feels even hotter. Also, definitely take something with you like Gatorade. You need something with electrolytes in it, not just water. You know, you're gonna be burning through all the sodium in your system. One of the things that I like to put in my water is Element. It just adds more sodium and some other stuff into your water as well. You definitely want to take some snacks with you, maybe some protein bars. You also want to take some sugary snacks with you as well. I like Skittles. I'll have like a small bag of Skittles in my pack as well. And last but not least, do not forget to take your sunscreen with you. I know you think it's early in the year, I'm not going to get sunburned, but when you're at those higher elevations, you know, not so much for Tennessee, I'm not too worried about it, but for Big Sky in Utah, it's going to be July, it's going to be hot. If you don't have sunscreen on, you're going to come back and you're going to look like a lobster, and you're going to be ruined for the rest of the event. Also, don't forget to take chapstick. I know, however, you know, make your jokes in the comments, but I always take chapstick with me as well. Your lips are going to get dried out just like your skin will.
That's what she said.
And last but not least, get out to the range and practice. That's the best advice I can give you. The more you practice at the range, the better you're going to be, the more confident you're going to be on these courses. You're going to be shooting a lot of tight windows. Depending on which course you're going to be, you're going to be taking shots anywhere from 40 yards, even out, maybe out to 130 yards. There was a 130-yard buffalo last year in Colorado that I missed because I didn't have my sight tape dialed in correctly. But if you can hit those pipe plates all the way out to, you know, 80 to 100 yards, you're going to do fine. A lot of the tight windows that they're going to present to you, as long as you can stay in that pipe plate, you're going to be fine. Practice your short range, practice your long range. When you're hitting really good shots at 60, 70, 80, even out to 100 yards, you're going to get to a 40-yard target and it's going to be a piece of cake. You're going to be hitting bullseyes. So when you get onto these courses too, don't feel that you have to shoot from the cone that they set up. Like I said, some of these shots are going to be very far. You can always move closer to the target. There's no shame in doing that. Not everybody wants to blow through a bunch of arrows, you know, if they're missing targets like that. You start missing, cut the distance in half. Go from an 80-yard shot to a 40-yard shot. Get your confidence back and have fun. Another thing I want to tell you to do as well is try to practice in the wind. You know, right here at my range at El Dorado, it's typically the wind is usually coming in from left to right. So I have a lot of practice, you know, tilting my bow and shooting into that wind and still staying on target. If you want to learn how to shoot these TAC events, all the tips and tricks and stuff like that as well, or just shoot archery in general, go to knockonarchery.com. John Dudley is the master at all of this stuff. I basically learned how to shoot by just watching his videos. He has a school of knock, and it takes you all the way through from start to finish on how to shoot your how to shoot your bow. He's going to give you tips and tricks on how to shoot these TAC events, you know, when you're shooting uphill, shooting downhill, shooting into the wind, all that kind of stuff. Check out his website. It's amazing. I've bought a ton of gear from him as well. I've got a Knock On shirt right now. You know, my stabilizers are from Knock On channel. My arrow rest is from the Knock On channel. I've probably got at least 10 different shirts from Knock On Archery. So definitely support him because he is a wealth of information and we're very lucky to have him. So the last thing to do is just get out to your practice range and start shooting. Thanks a lot for watching. I really appreciate it. Hopefully this video will help you guys. I know the Oklahoma event has already started. So thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure you do all that fun stuff for me, please. Smash that like button, share, comment, definitely subscribe to the channel. Once you are subscribed, click that bell notification so you do get notified when I come out with new archery stuff, or watch some of my other videos. You know, I mountain bike, I hike, I do a lot of drone videos, stuff like that as well, so give those a watch. I'd really appreciate it. And last but not least, click on one of the boxes in the corners. One will take you to my archery playlist, another to your favorite video, and you can click the logo over there, the Urban Outdoors from SoCal logo, to subscribe. Thanks a lot.